What's up, everyone? Jay here with Tap and Turn Gaming, coming at you today with another EDH deck tech. So when we did our EDH deck tech for Avis and Angel of Hope, Tribal Angels, one of our viewers, Scotty Caldwell, left a comment in the comment section below that video saying that he wanted to do a mono-white devotion deck led by Heliod, God of the Sun, and call the deck God and His Angels. We offered to, whip up something along those lines for him, and, he gave us the go-ahead and the green light for that. So, Scotty, this is God and His Angels. This is a deck tech for you, so I hope you enjoy it. And if you're still planning on building a deck like this around Heliod, I hope you take some inspiration from it, because I think it came out pretty cool. So just one thing to kind of throw out there before I get into the deck. Excuse me. So Scotty wanted to call the deck God and His Angels. So obviously there would have to be some angels in the deck, but also I guess we can take a look at Heliod before I get into the rest of it. He is a 4-cost, 5/6 legendary enchantment creature god. He's indestructible, just like all the other gods. And as long as your devotion to white is less than 5, he is not a creature. He gives your other creatures vigilance, and he has an ability where you can pay 2 and 2 white to put a 2/1 white cleric enchantment creature token onto the battlefield. So in the creature base, I decided to kind of go with a cleric sub-theme, because Heliod makes clerics. So I guess the flavor that I had in my mind behind it was, God has his angels, which he does, which you'll see in the deck. There are quite a few angels in this deck, but there's also quite a few clerics, creatures of the cleric creature type. So, in my mind, the flavor behind it is, the clerics are Heliod's followers. He can make clerics, so I threw in some clerics into the deck as well. So, Scotty, I hope you like that idea. But without further ado, let's get in on to the rest of the deck. First up, we'll take a look at our land base. We run an Ameria the Sky Rune because it resurrects creatures out of our graveyard when we have 7 or more planes down. We run a new Benalia to get that Scry. Nykthos, Shrine to Nyx, just had to be in the deck. Scotty wanted it to be a quote-unquote white devotion deck, so this land just had to find its place into the deck. We run a Secluded Step for some cycling, Sajiri Step to give a creature protection from a color when it comes in, Seraph Sanctuary just made sense because it's God and His Angels, so we have quite a few angels in the deck, so this will gain you a life when it comes in and gain you a life whenever an angel comes into play under your control. Then we have a Thespian Stage to copy our Ameria. Same here with Vesuva to copy our Ameria because it is not legendary, so we can get multiple resurrection triggers off of that. And Windbrisk Heights, it's the white hideaway land, and you trigger it by attacking with 3 or more creatures in a single turn. So you can activate that if you meet that stipulation. Alright, next we'll take a look at the 2 sorceries that we run in the deck. They're just board wipes. We run Mass Calcify, destroy all non-white creatures, just makes sense in this deck. And obviously Wrath of God, because the general of the deck is a god, so Wrath of God just had to be in the deck from a flavor standpoint. And if I were building this deck, I would purposely seek out that version with that art of Wrath of God, because Heliod is pictured on it. He's, just wrecking some dudes' days. So, next we'll take a look at the 1 Planeswalker that we run. We run Elspeth Tyrell. Now, from the lore from like the Theros block, I know Elspeth was the Sun's champion, and basically she was kind of Heliod's champion, basically, because she's the Sun's champion and Heliod is the god of the Sun. And then she was gifted with Godsend, which is a card that we do have in the deck. And then Elspeth went off and, slayed I believe it was Xenagos. And, once that Heliod saw that Elspeth was capable of slaying a god, he slayed her. So I just felt like Elspeth had to be in the deck for that reason. Now, I didn't go with Elspeth Sun's Champion because that particular card just has an ability on it where it just didn't really make much sense in this deck. The middle ability on her is to destroy all creatures with power 4 or greater. Well, we have a lot of angels that have 4 or more power, so I didn't really want to put the Sun's Champion version of her into this deck for that reason. I mean, don't get me wrong, that's not a bad card. I just felt like Elspeth Tyrell fit in a lot better. You can +2 to gain 1 life for each creature you control, -2 to get 3 1/1 white soldiers, and then -5 to destroy all other permanents except for lands and tokens. So I felt like she fit in a lot better than Elspeth Sun's Champion. But, we still get Elspeth herself into the deck, which is what I felt like we needed to have from a lore standpoint. Next up, we'll take a look at our artifacts. We have Cage Sun for the mana doubling and the +1/+1 on our creatures of the color that we choose. Obviously going to be white in this deck. Extra Planar Lens for the mana doubling. Here's Godsend. Just had to be in the deck from a flavor standpoint. Gives the equipped creature +3/+3. When it blocks or becomes blocked, you can exile one of the creatures that it's blocking, or is being blocked by, and your opponents can't cast spells with the same name as a card exiled with it. That's generally not going to ever really matter too much unless you're playing a multiplayer game and some of your opponents are playing some of the same cards. It's kind of a real corner case thing that you could, actually have that part of the card do something, but just from a flavor standpoint, I wanted this card in the deck. We have Lightning Greaves, everybody knows what that does. Mind's Eye for some card draw. We have Moon Silver Spear because it spits out 4/4 flying angels when the equipped creature attacks, and this is God and his angels, so I felt like that was a very fitting equipment for the deck. We have Seer's Sundial for some more card draw. Sisay's Ring, just a mana rock. Soul Ring, another mana rock. Spear of Heliod had to be in the deck because Heliod is the general of the deck, so we have to have his spear in the deck. It's basically a glorious anthem with an added bonus of being able to pay 1 and 2 white and tap it to destroy a creature that dealt damage to you this turn. So, I mean, overall, it's not a bad card. Then we have Sun Droplet. Heliod's the god of the sun, so I felt like this card was pretty fitting for the deck. Plus, it's actually not a bad card by any means. It's a 2-cost artifact that gets charge counters equal to the damage that you're dealt. So whenever you're dealt damage, you put that many charge counters on it. Then at the beginning of each upkeep, you may remove a charge counter from it to gain 1 life. So, if your opponents are attacking you, you can put charge counters on this, and then every single upkeep, just not yours, it's each upkeep, you can remove a counter from it to gain a life. So it's a pretty cool card. I like it, especially if you're playing multiplayer. You can, definitely gain back a substantial amount of life before it gets back to your turn. Then we have Well of Lost Dreams, 4-cost artifact. Whenever you gain life, you may pay X, where X is less than or equal to to the amount of life that you gained if you do draw X cards. We do have a few ways in this deck to gain life. We just saw one in Sun Droplet. So Well of Lost Dreams, will be a pretty solid artifact for us when we're gaining life to draw some additional cards. And then we have Worn Power Stone, just another mana rock that adds 2 to our mana pool. Next up, we'll take a look at our instants. We are on Bathe in Light, pretty nice card. You could potentially end a game with this card. 2-cost white instant. With Radiance, so you choose a color, target creature, and each other creature that shares a color with it gain protection from the chosen color until end of turn. So, if you choose black and you target one of your creatures in this deck, it's going to radiate or radiance to all of your other creatures because they all share a color with the creature that you targeted. So they're all going to get protection from black. Essentially, this card reads, each creature you control gains protection from the color of your choice. This does work for other creatures that are on the board that aren't under your control, but generally, if you're casting this, it's probably, to alpha strike somebody and get them out of the game. Devouring Light, just some spot removal to exile a target attacking or blocking creature, and it also has Convoke, so it's pretty cool. Path to Exile, everybody knows what that does. Return to Dust, some artifact and enchantment removal that exiles the artifact or enchantment, and then if you cast the spell during your main phase, you can basically get 2 exile triggers off of it. So if you cast it, not during your main phase, you can exile 1 thing. If you cast it during your main phase, you can exile 2 things. So that's pretty nice. And then we have Swords to Plowshares, another white spot removal card. Everybody knows what that does. Next up, we'll look at our enchantments. We run Angelic Chorus because, it's God and his angels, so Angelic Chorus just kind of fits into the theme. And it's a really good card whenever a creature you control, whenever a creature comes into play under your control, you gain life equal to its toughness. So another way for us to gain some life there. Aura of Silence makes it so that artifacts and enchantments your opponents play cost 2 more to play, and then you can sack this to destroy target artifact or enchantment. Then we have Dictate of Heliod, just had to be in the deck from a flavor standpoint because it's Heliod's deck. It's a 5-cost white enchantment with flash that gives your creatures +2/+2. Then we have Gift of Immortality, which is a pretty nice aura. Basically, what this card does is when it's on a creature, if that creature dies, the creature immediately comes back to the board under your control, and then Gift of Immortality gets attached back onto that creature at the beginning of the next end step. So essentially, the creature that has this on it, your opponent has to kill twice before the end of that turn that they killed it in order for it to really die. So it's a pretty cool card. And then we have True Conviction. Creatures you control have Double Strike and Lifelink because that's really, really nice. Alright, and then lastly, we'll take a look at our creature base. So first up we have a Darkar Valkyrie, a 4/5 flyer with vigilance that taps to resurrect a creature when it dies. So basically, if a creature would die, you can tap this and return it to the battlefield under your control. And it's not just your creatures, it's any creature. So that's pretty nice. We have Admonition Angel. When you landfall, you can exile a non-land permanent other than Admonition Angel, and then when she leaves the board, all those permanents come back to play. Aegis Angel, a 6-cost 5/5 flyer. As long as she's on the board, another one of your permanents is indestructible for as long as you control her. So she's pretty cool. We have a Chroma Angel of Wrath because she's one of the most iconic angels in the game. So why not? Why not have her in the deck? Angel of Finality, basically a Bajuka Bog on a 3/4 flying body, so that's pretty nice. We have Angelic Field Marshal, a 3/3 flyer with Lieutenant, which is an ability from the most previous commander set. So as long as you control your commander, she gets +2/+2, and creatures you control have vigilance. So that's pretty nice. And most of the time you'll probably control Heliod because he's indestructible. There's not many things your opponents can do to remove him. I mean, there are ways to remove indestructible permanents, but there aren't, lots and lots of ways to do it. Angelic Overseer, 5-cost 5/3 flyer. As long as you control a human, it has hexproof and indestructible. So, a lot of the clerics that I mentioned that we have in the deck happen to be humans. So, we have a decent amount of ways to make this angel hexproof and indestructible. Next is Angelic Skirmisher. At the beginning of each combat, you choose First Strike, Vigilance, or Lifelink. Creatures you control gain that ability until end of turn. So it's not just during your combat, it's each combat. So that's a really nice ability. If your opponent decides to attack into you, you can give your creatures Lifelink and block, or First Strike and, kill off a bunch of their stuff. So it's a pretty nice card. Next up we have Archangel of Foon. It's a 5-cost 3/4 flyer with lifelink, and whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. So that's a pretty powerful ability, plus it's just another way for us to gain some life. Next we have Archangel of Tides. New card from Magic Origins, probably one of my favorite cards from it. It's a 4-cost 3/5 flyer. As long as it's untapped, creatures can't attack you or a planeswalker you control unless their controller pays 1 for each of those creatures. And as long as it's attacking, creatures can't block unless their controller pays 1 for each of those creatures. So pretty nice. Makes it harder for your opponents to attack you and makes it harder for them to block your onslaught. So it's a pretty nice card. I like it a lot. Next we have Avis and Angel of Hope. Everybody probably knows what she does. If you saw the deck tech that I did on her last week, you'll know exactly what she does. But she is an 8-cost 8/8 flyer with vigilance that makes it so that her herself and other permanents you control are indestructible. So, pretty basic, but, she is amazing. If you drop her, your opponent is in for a bad day. Next we have Baneslayer Angel, 5-cost 5/5 flyer with first strike lifelink, protection from demons and dragons. Basically there just as a really nice 5/5 flying beater that gains you life and can't be touched by demons or dragons. Next we have one of the clerics that we have in the deck, Vanisher Priest, a 3-cost 2/2. When it enters the battlefield, exile a creature an opponent controls until it leaves the battlefield. So, more or less kind of just gets rid of a creature temporarily until your opponent, gets rid of this creature. And we have Battlegrounds Angel, 5-cost 4/4 flyer with Exalted, and whenever a creature you control attacks alone, it gains lifelink, so another way for us to gain some life. Next we have Blinding Angel. When it hits your opponent, that player skips their next combat phase, so if you can continuously and consistently hit your opponent with this, they're never going to have another combat step. Next we have another Cleric, Custody Soulbinders, a 4-cost 0/0 that comes in with X +1/+1 counters, or X is the number of other creatures on the battlefield, and then you can pay 2 and a white and remove a counter from it to get a 1/1 white flying spirit. So that's pretty cool. Here we have Deathless Angel. Scroll down a little bit here. It's a 6-cost 5/7 that you can pay 2 white to make target creature indestructible this turn. Pretty basic, but really nice. Another Cleric here in 8.5 Tails, 2-cost 2/2, where you can pay 1 and a white. Target permanent you control gains protection from white until end of turn, and then you can pay 1 to make target spell or permanent become white until end of turn. It's a pretty powerful card, so if someone goes to, let's say, Doomblade, one of your creatures, you can pay 1 to make that Doomblade white, and then pay 1 and a white to give the creature that they're targeting the Doomblade with protection from white. So it's a pretty cool card. You can more or less, for 3 mana, give a permanent you control protection from whatever your opponent's trying to do to it. Next we have Ameria Angel, 4-cost 3/3. When you landfall, you get a 1/1 white flying bird. Pretty cool, generates tokens for you. Here's another Cleric, Angel of Heliod. It is the Angel of Heliod, so it just had to go in the deck. It's a 6-cost 1/3, so for the body and the cost, it may seem a little highly costed for that, but its ability is really nice. When it enters the battlefield, put a number of 1/1 white soldier creature tokens onto the battlefield equal to your devotion to white. So devotion basically is how many white mana symbols among the stuff that you have on the board. So, if you have 10 white mana symbols on all the cards that you have on the board, your devotion to white is 10, so this guy would bring in 10 1/1s for you. So he's pretty cool. I like him a lot. Next we have Fiend Hunter, more or less kind of the same thing as Vanisher Priest, except he's a 1/3 instead of a 2/2. When he comes in, exile another creature. When he leaves, that creature comes back. Another cleric here in Frontline Medic, 3 cost, 3/3 with Battalion. So whenever he and at least 2 other creatures attack, creatures you control are indestructible this turn. So that's pretty cool. And also, you can sacrifice him to counter target spell with X in its mana cost, unless its controller pays 3. So if your opponent tries to go all out and dump a whole bunch of mana into an Exsanguinate, maybe, or something along those lines, just kill everybody at the table, you can sacrifice this guy and counter that spell unless they pay 3. So he's pretty cool. I like him a lot. Here's a really nice cleric in Grand Abolisher, 2 cost, 2/2. During your turn, your opponents can't cast spells or activate abilities of artifacts, creatures, or enchantments. So basically, it makes it so that your opponents can't do too much on your turn. They can still, actually, they can't cast spells at all. So basically, your opponents can't really do anything while it's your turn. Here we have Guardian Seraph. He's a 4 cost, 3/4 flyer. Basically prevents the first 1 damage that you would be dealt by any source, so he's pretty cool. Karmic Guide, basically there for some creature resurrection. We generally won't ever pay the echo on it. It's just there to get a creature out of the graveyard for us and bring it back. Core Sanctifiers, a 2/3 for 3 with Kicker for 1 white, and if you kicked it, you destroy target artifact or enchantment, so that's pretty cool. Plus it's a cleric, so I felt like it fit right in. We have Mikaeus the Lunarch. He costs 1 white and X. He comes into play with X +1/+1 counters. You can tap him to put a +1/+1 counter on him, or you can tap him and remove a counter from him to put a +1/+1 counter on each other creature you control. So he's pretty cool. I like him. Here we have Mother of Runes, a very nice cleric that taps to give target creature you control protection from the color of your choice until end of turn. Then we have, let's scroll down, Pristine Angel, 6 cost, 4/4. As long as it's untapped, it has protection from artifacts and from all colors, and when you cast a spell, you may untap it. We do have some ways to give our creatures vigilance in this deck so that she'll always stay untapped, unless, your opponent, well actually she has protection from everything, so your opponent can't really do anything to tap her, but if somehow she becomes tapped, if your opponent tries to cast something on her while she's tapped to get rid of her, you can cast a spell in response to that to untap her so she'll gain protection again. Next we have Soul Warden, pretty well-known human cleric that gains you a life every time a creature enters the battlefield. So another way for us to gain some life. Here we have Sublime Archangel, a 4/3 for 4 with Exalted, and other creatures you control have Exalted. So that's really, really nice. So if you have 10 creatures on the board, if you attack with a single creature, you're going to get 10 Exalted triggers, and that creature's going to get +10/+10. So that's pretty good, pretty ridiculous. Here we have Sun Titan, 6 cost, 6/6 with Vigilance, and when he comes into play or attacks, you can bring a permanent card with convert a mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. I want to say we more than 10% of our deck is 3 or less mana cost. So this guy, he does his job and he does it well. Here we have Sunblast Angel. When it enters the battlefield, we destroy all tapped creatures. So if your opponent, especially if you're playing multiplayer, they go to swing in at somebody and tap all their creatures down. You can play this on your turn and just nuke their board. So it's pretty cool. Here we have War Priest of Foon. We'll scroll down a little bit. He's a 2 cost, 2/2. When he enters the board, destroy target enchantment. You may destroy target enchantment. So, more or less there just to get rid of some enchantments that we don't like. And lastly, we have Weathered Wayfarer. He's a 1 cost, 1/1, where you can pay 1 white and tap him to search your library for a land card. Doesn't have to be a basic land card, just any land card. Reveal it, put it in your hand, and shuffle your library. Play this ability only if an opponent controls more lands than you. pretty solid card, especially in multiplayer. If any of your opponents are playing green, they're more than likely going to be ramping like crazy, and they'll probably have more lands on the board than you at some point, so this guy will help you out a little bit with that. Alright, so that is more or less the deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Scotty, I hope you enjoyed it especially, and then if you plan on still making a deck around Heliod, I hope you take some inspiration from this video. Just a couple of other things to talk about. About the deck, the color balance, not much to talk about there because it's mono white. So moving on to the types of cards. Obviously, with any EDH deck, your land base is going to take up a third of your deck. This deck's pretty creature heavy. It's got 35 creatures, so I just like building creature heavy decks. That's just how I build. Scotty, you don't have to take this this list, and just take it and copy it. If you want, that's great. You can put your own twist on it. I'm sure you will. But this build that I made happens to be very creature heavy. And then we have a small portion of the deck compiled of instants, sorceries, and enchantments with a decent amount of artifacts at 13, and then we have the one Planeswalker in Elspeth. Our mana curve, it's not too terrible. We have a few things to play on turn 1, a little less on turn 2, and then on turn 3 and 4, we kind of spike up a little bit, and then turn 5 we curve downward a little bit, and then turn 6 we have a little more things to play that are 6 costed. But overall, it's not too bad of a mana base. According to TCG Player, if you wanted to purchase this deck as is right now, it would cost you $264.33 on TCG Player. And then, actually, our average converted mana cost is 3.98, so that's not too bad. And then just the types of tokens that the deck can make. It can make 1/1 spirits, 1/1 birds, 1/1 soldiers, and 4/4 angels. So, that about wraps up the video, guys. I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, thumbs up this video. That lets us know that you want to see more videos like this, so we can continue taking viewer and subscriber requested decks and, make them happen for you. Leave us a comment in the comment section below. Let me know what you think of this deck. If there are any cards that you would possibly take in or add, take out, add in, things like that. Maybe I drop the ball on some flavorful cards for a deck like this. Let me know. I really do like to hear your comments and suggestions. And if you're not already subscribed to Tap and Turn Gaming, please crush that subscribe button. We really do appreciate it. So, this has been Jay with Tap and Turn Gaming. Thanks a lot for watching the video, everyone. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff, and we will catch you later. Thanks a lot.